Let's talk about two of the dumbest people that we have seen in baseball in quite some time. Luis Ortiz, Emmanuel Clase have been caught just completely fixing pitches, games, whatever it is. They've been caught canoodling with people on the outside through the use of sports books, and we are getting so much information on them right now, how much money that was involved, how much money they were getting. These guys were betting on baseball and profiting off it, and that is bad. It's bad for baseball. It's bad for gambling. It's bad for apparently the law. There's a lot of not good stuff going on here, and we want to give you our honest, truthful thoughts on it because there's a lot of different things being put out there right now, and I think some people are kind of missing the mark on what's really going on here.
A bit, yeah. Worst case, it's bad for these two guys, especially
Yes.
Emmanuel Clase had, I think, $28 million of guaranteed money left on his own contract.
What an idiot.
These are both good pitchers. Clase was a great pitcher. Luis Ortiz was at least a major league pitcher. They had long careers ahead of them. And to throw it away on what was, truthfully, small amounts of money here. I know that the initial reports came out and said that they were getting kickbacks of between $12,000 and $5,000. That's not really exactly what happened here. It does seem like a bit these guys are doing favors for their friends, is the information seems like we have right now. We never know what was going on behind the scenes. We'll talk about that more a little bit later. But
I'll also say if it was $5,000 to $12,000 for Emmanuel Clase, that's also still relatively chump change for him.
It seems like it was more of him being, which is going to sound very funny, like an altruist for his friends, knowing that he could throw a really stupid pitch to start his innings. And he was so good that that bad pitch wouldn't affect the game for his team. While at the same time, a few of his buddies would be able to make a few grand. Because what was happening here, the nuts and bolts of it, is that Emmanuel Clase, mostly on the first pitch of the innings of the outings that he came into, he would throw a slider that was nowhere close to the plate. And when this would happen, there would be a coordinated effort of people who were close to Clase, or at least who Clase was delivering the information to of when he was going to do this, and they would parlay first pitch of that at bat ball and under velocity because Clase throws so many cutters, 70% cutters. Those cutters average 99 miles an hour. The sports books will always give you plus money for the under on that velocity, and he's such a ridiculous strike thrower, they would give you double plus money on whether the ball was going to be a ball or a strike. So for him specifically, kind of a brilliant scam. At the same time, it's amazing it even took 2 full years for him to get caught.
Yeah, he's been doing this since 2023. What's crazy is, and maybe this sounds nuts, the insignificant amount of total value that apparently was accrued by these guys who were making these bets and winning, around $400,000 in the range there, which that's a lot of money. But when you're fixing an event, really not that much. When you have control over what's happening on a bet, really not that much at all over the span of 2 years in something that was a guarantee. I shouldn't say guarantee because Anthony Volpe swung at a pitch, and so did Andy Paez. Well, I think to Luis Ortiz was one of them. But this is a weird scenario because we just had all the NBA stuff going on too with Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier and what was it, Jonte Porter. Like we've had a bunch of stuff recently coming out, and of course this has to do with the publication, or I shouldn't say publication,
legalization.
The legalization of sports books to the average man and to everyone around sports and baseball and the involvement that they have in the leagues with sponsorships and whatnot. But at the same time, it's like, you're still an idiot. Like at the end of the day, Luis Ortiz and Emmanuel Clase ruined their baseball career, threw away generational wealth to maybe help out their friends or to just make a quick buck, which is so fucking stupid.
Luis Ortiz, I think, is also in a special echelon himself in this situation in terms of the land of idiots, because he joined in this like 10 seconds before they got caught.
Yeah.
He was not even able to make enough money for people, whatever, himself, anyone else, while this was happening. It's like he showed up to a party at 11:16 and cops came to that party at 11:27. Like that's basically Luis Ortiz's involvement in this. And there is kind of distinction, like you said, the $400,000 total that was exchanged. It isn't a lot of money, especially when you consider this began in May 2023. But then also inside the indictment, it said that a lot of that money was sent back to the Dominican Republic. In Dominican Republic, that's a lot of money. And I do think that's what this comes back to. But then the other side of this, to the sports books, this is no money at all.
No.
This is nothing whatsoever. And that's why I do think it took so long for this to even come onto their radars, because there's been now a new report that David Pertham reported in ESPN that prominent U.S. sportsbooks are establishing a nationwide $200 betting limit on baseball wagers centered around individual pitches, prohibiting such bets from being included in parlay attempts to decrease the incentive for manipulation. Major League Baseball announced Monday. I think any real gamblers out there, you guys know the limits on those bets was not much higher than that to begin with. And if you are a successful gambling account on any of the major sports books, no free ads, I'm not mentioning them, you will get flagged the second you start winning those consecutively, especially if you're parlaying them together. So I do think that while that's a great soundbite and it is nice that Major League Baseball is reacting, doing something about this, I don't know if that's the huge announcement that maybe it seems to be at this moment.
Yeah, I think from Major League Baseball's perspective, one good PR to put that out there
Great
in what has
PR.
been one of the biggest scandals that has happened in baseball history in terms of
Literally.
fixing and gambling and altering what's going on in games. But also at the same time, me, you, our six buddies, we can now all go make a $200 bet if we want to. And if we had the ear of an Emmanuel Clase per se, and be like, okay, now it's just spread out over all these accounts rather than one or two accounts. There's limits, there's maxes. Obviously now you can't parlay them, so you're gonna be able to nuke the odds in a perspective in some sort of way. But again, if you are a serious gambler, you know that as soon as you start making a lot of money on these sports books, a lot of times they do limit you. They are aware of every single transaction that you make. They are tracking you. They have statistics. They have the information. That's why you get fed those special offers. That's why you get fed. Sometimes you get a different offer than your friend does, even the same thing, because they know you're susceptible to follow it, or they know that it's going to cater to your gambling style more. This ultimately doesn't make a huge change from the actual gamblers on the gambling side, but from a PR perspective, from both the sports books and the league, this is a positive PR spin, which is why they put it out there.
And again, there's a big partnership that's developed between these large sports books and Major League Baseball. That's very lucrative for everybody involved. And you get this
FanDuel Sports Network,
that broadcasts a third, almost a half of all Major League Baseball
took
teams
over Bally's,
games.
which, by the way, Bally's also did gambling.
But this quote from Manfred: "I commend the industry for working with us to take action on a national solution to address the risks posed by these pitch level markets, which are particularly vulnerable to integrity concerns." And I think that is important.
It's true.
The integrity of baseball is the most important thing here, because the fact that it was sullied over years by one of the best relief pitchers in the whole fucking league,
which is also so crazy.
Yeah, he has 0.69 ERA, and he was literally throwing pitches in a given time. But that is still the most important thing. The fact that this happened and it hurt baseball sucks. It sucks ass. At the same time, like you were talking about before, all the things that these gambling companies are able to do to make you bet more consistently, stay betting longer. I have a unique perspective on that. I used to work for a gambling company.
Yes.
And I was working on teams that were part of some of those back end things, doing content and social for them, where we would know the times that certain users were more likely to log on to the app. And just before those times is when we'd send them the offers. So you can kind of get that idea in their head that they're going to gamble anyway. And because we know the time of activity, you give them that update 5-10 minutes sooner. It all feels very predatory. So it is nice that these bets are being limited, less parlays, because we know parlays are poor for the gamblers. That's a good thing, I think, in the spectrum. But this still all is just a proliferation of what's become of gambling in this country.
Yeah, and it really is still insane to me, just out loud, that these guys are even getting involved again over what should be peanuts. Luis Ortiz less so than Emmanuel Clase, who had guaranteed money coming to him for the next few years, and now neither of these guys will ever throw a pitch again in Major League Baseball. They're going to be completely banned from the sport. Emmanuel Clase is going to be the best pitcher the KBO's ever seen. They're going to turn him into a starting pitcher. He's going to have a 0 ERA in his career, but they will never play in Major League Baseball again, and that's so, it's just so short-sighted and stupid. And I can't believe that in an era where there are athletes in other sports getting caught, and I guess maybe because Clase got away with it for almost 2 seasons, he thought he was never going to get caught, but they're going to catch you. Like, how do you even have the mental fortitude to think that you're going to get away with this?
No, for sure. And I think that there's a really funny exchange in literally the way that Clase was caught. And it came from this Pablo Torres. He's just destroying the sports journalism market right now. He's incredible. At one point, per the indictment, Clase tried to throw a ball, but the batter swung, resulting in a strike. That was now the infamous video that's gone around of Andy Pajes just swinging a horrific slider in the dirt. That really was nowhere close. And Dodgers fans, you guys know about that. If any baseball fans, just watch the playoffs. But on the first pitch of an inning, which again was pretty important, this whole Clase thing, and then Clase threw a pitch that appeared to be a ball. The batter swung, resulting in a strike, coming straight from the indictment, leading Bether 1 and Bether 2 to lose their wages. Approximately 20 minutes after Bether 1 lost the wager on May 28, 2025, Bether 1 sent a text message to the defendant, Emmanuel Clase de la Cruz, a GIF image of a man hanging himself with toilet paper. Even though the Cleveland Guardians won the game, approximately 10 minutes later, Clase responded to Bether 1 with a GIF image of a sad puppy dog face.
It's just they're so stupid.
There's even so much to unpack in that. First of all, there's always the fear in these situations that some people are involved in bad things. Like
Yes.
we don't know. I don't like to assume why these people are going through and doing these horrible things, jeopardizing their entire careers. And again, Emmanuel Clase gave up $5 million guaranteed last year, 6.5 this year, and then 10 the 2 years after that. So about $32 million of guaranteed money that Emmanuel Clase will never see, that he would have seen.
That was if he blew out his arm every single year and never threw another pitch. He literally didn't have to get banned from baseball. That was the only way he didn't get this money.
He could have been in a coma and he would have gotten that money, as long as he was just alive and not in jail and didn't sully the game of baseball like he
Or
did
Wander
here.
Franco.
Yeah, God, I can't believe you said his name on the channel. But the fact that those kind of jesty text messages came across, this does seem like what we can glean from this initial indictment is that this was Emmanuel Clase basically trying to throw his friends a few bones. And the fact that money was going back to Dominican Republic, what we are calling small amounts of money, probably was large amounts of money for some people. I think that's part of it. At the same time, kind of terrifying that they were tapping these phones.
If they were. I mean, these guys could have also given it up because they're like, you got us.
During the investigation, they probably gave it up. Yeah,
like they were like, hey, you got us. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, doesn't seem like the smartest guys in the world were really running this plan, considering they were just fucking texting. Are you kidding me? How are you that stupid?
And it's really clear going back. Foolish Baseball did this the second that this investigation was announced, and then Ben Lindbergh from The Ringer, and he wrote the only rule is it has to work. They basically went back to all of Class A's first pitches of innings. They were like,
it's very obvious.
This seems like he was really missing with a lot of sliders early in games that he knew he was going to close with multiple run leads, which is so fucked up at the end of the day. But also to him, he was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm still getting the save. I'm not giving up any runs. It's a really bizarre, strange, unique thing that's really only happened because of how diverse of props these sportsbooks do offer.
And then also just let's zoom out right now. Big grand scheme, baseball, sports, all this kind of stuff. It's a terrifying thought that this stuff can be happening, especially if you are someone who likes to partake in gambling, which I do. I like to make some bets here and there. Even if you don't, if you were just a fan of your teams, the idea that a player could be involved in something that could alter the game easily, as easy as that, does suck. It completely ruins the quality of the product. It ruins the integrity of the game. These are major, major issues. Hopefully these are the only guys, but you also see how easy it was for anyone to have done this because it seems like 10 idiots got it done.
And this is something unique for baseball and basketball compared to football, where one player can really control a lot. Like the videos have gone around of when Jonte Porter accidentally banked in his three, and he just looks around like that 1,000-mile scare. And again, Clase strikes out Anthony Volpe, or Volpe just swings and misses at the pitch, and he goes, fuck, on the mound of a major league game. It's kind of a harrowing thing to see now looking back. It really kind of
like when we can hear stomach. It's like it's a different kind of feel, but it's like when you go back to the Astros videos, you hear the doom, 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 and then the next pitch is fucking nuked into the Crawford box.
Like, wow.
Oh, shit. Yeah, maybe we should have been paying attention to that, or the Braves whistler, like any of those things.
And again, there's always the part of this too, which I still want to say, like, you never know what's going on with these guys in their lives. Like, remember the story 10 years ago when the cartel was out for Yasiel Puig?
Yep, I was
and
going to bring that up.
Like, there's always things, especially these guys who come from different countries, have to do. Some of them, not all of them, but sometimes you got to get to a certain spot to put yourself in position. A lot of people were also talking about the NBA thing for a second, really destroying Terry Rozier, because Terry Rozier, the last contract he signed, $100 million guaranteed. At the same time, I think he had taken out his second mortgage on his home.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't know what goes on behind the scenes with these athletes. Even when they have huge dollar signs associated with their names, we got no fucking idea what's actually going on in their day-to-day lives.
Antoine Walker was working at Home Depot, I believe, after he got the big contract with the Celtics at one point. Like, these guys, just because you have money doesn't mean you're smart with your money either. That being said, it's not an excuse to do any of this. It's still very against the rules. Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, see you later. You'll never play again in Major League Baseball, which is also
might go to jail.
Yeah, it might go to jail, which, okay. Can I have this hot take? 65 years feels like a lot, right? That feels like a little much. Like, there's people who commit heinous crimes and don't get that much time. I feel like fixing baseball, one of the major punishments is you don't get to play anymore.
Yeah, you lose all that money on top of it. I don't know. This is we don't have any legal advice on the wind up here.
No,
but
of course not.
There's something probably about the fact that the money was sent out of the country, like wiretap situation. Yeah. Like, I'm sure there's stuff like that going on here. Now all of these charges are adding up to get to that spot.
Like, go to jail, sure, I'm fine with that. But like 65 feels like overkill.
Clase is, yeah, some of the worst people in the world don't get 65 years. Clase is lawyers also unequivocally plead not guilty. It's like we're ready to fight this and win. So
Whoa.
so that's gonna be interesting, especially when they have those text messages about the yeah
It'd be,
the
what a
gifts of
crazy coincidence that would be that he happens to know those guys making those bets and then was like, I'm sorry, I ended up being a strike.
Dude, in the indictment, they said that Clase was calling people during games from the bullpen to kind of put the signal on, or at least sending text messages. Which again, sending text messages, like if you're going to be committing crimes, don't send text messages.
Definitely don't leave a paper trail.
Especially when, but it is funny to look at this because it seems like he was very careful about multiple run lead.
Yep.
And this is going to be the first pitch. So he was very aware of what was going on the whole time. Like this is something that was actual thought was going into making a really stupid decision.
Can't plead like ignorance or like the stupid card of like, oh, I didn't know that I couldn't do this. Why couldn't I? Still got the save. It's like, you knew what you were doing was wrong this entire time.
And I tweeted that when all this news broke, that it's amazing that in a criminal case, a federal judge might say the words "foolish baseball."
That's kind of sick.
Like that video that he edited on Twitter the second this investigation began, it's already up to 2.5 million impressions. That literally might be cited as evidence because of how obvious it seemed to be that Clase was throwing that first pitch deeply out of the strike zone. First pitch.
It's crazy. It's something that, I mean, we knew that this stuff happened this year. I didn't think we would necessarily be talking about or getting this much information. I thought it would be like a, hey, we got him kind of thing. But now knowing all the information that we have and all the PR going out, it's such a shit show and such a circus that I can't wait for this to pass, truthfully.
Yeah, I wish that this would have happened before the NBA got all their RICO charges in there and a bunch of legends got taken down at the same time. It's a real shame that now this is the one that will stick in people's craw. That's just classic baseball versus basketball. They always seem to find the luck of the draw, but this sucks for baseball. I really hope they find ways to stop this from happening. I mean, over another half times this happens in the next 5 years, I'm definitely to really tie this up with one more bet, take the over. Gambling just becomes so embedded. Like everyone is so locked in with these sports books. They pay so much money to be parts of these leagues. Every single league. It's not just baseball. This problem is not unique to baseball. It's definitely not unique considering basketball going on right now.
And there are rules in place too. Like there are pretty strict rules in place to make sure that these players are not gambling themselves. Again, you can get around these rules, I'm sure. No one's doing the research until you have to. And a big reason why these sports books did was because they were losing. So like,
yes, that's where this came down to at the end of the day.
Yeah. Is because the sports books were losing. They figured out we were losing on purpose. And then they were like, hey, this is a problem. We pay Major League Baseball. We pay the NBA. We play all these things. A lot of money to be mega sponsors. We can't have this happen. That's really where this all comes down to. Still fucking bad though. Don't fucking do it if you're a player. Don't be an idiot.
And it took them so long to figure it out because to them, this is small potatoes.
$400,000
over 2 years is nothing.
Game. Yeah.
Some of you guys listening right now may be like, what? $400,000 in 2 years for a massive corporation like these gambling companies are? It's nothing at all. And that's kind of what, sadly, this does come down to, is they had to, one, stop themselves from losing on purpose, and then altogether, everyone get the PR out, save the face, and get this thing over with as soon as possible.
And it ruins the integrity of the game because it's just
part of that. Oh yeah, harping on that. It's fucking hard. It's bad for baseball at the end of the day, but these sports books are now kind of making it about themselves.
Yes, which we know that should not be the case. Bad for baseball. That should be the main focus here. But that's basically our P's and Q's on Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Please do subscribe to The Windup if you like what you're seeing over here. I know a lot of you are asking for an audio version of this. It will come at some point. Coming. We're trying to build up the YouTube, get that really going and moving. Again, big shout out to our MVP level member, Paul. First one we've ever had. Appreciate it. So here's your shout out on a video. We appreciate you guys. Again, if you want to be a member, you can click the link in the description, hit the join button. Not necessary, but you get early access to videos along with some other perks. You can see what those are when you click through there. You can follow James on social media at
James Shiano.
And I'm Draft Deck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out, guys.